Okay. Sorry for the delay. We certainly didn't want to start this program without the opportunity for this microphone to tie in to the people who are live streaming at home. Okay. So let me start with what a great day. My name is Dan Lalanich. I'm the superintendent here in Niagara Wheatfield School District. And at this time, I would ask you all to stand as two of our outstanding student leaders, Katie Goris, Vice President, and Andrew John Domenico, President, respectively, lead us in the pledge to the flag and the national anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, that's it. Bye.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what the proudly we... Sorry, I'm gonna start that over. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Katie and Andrew. Welcome again. It is my great honor to be here with you this morning for the 4th and 5th annual Falcon Wall of Fame and Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Today is a culmination of 2 years worth of work by our committee. I would ask all our committee members in attendance to please stand and be recognized, as their names are also found in our programs. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Also, a quick thank you to Jamie Biter and Jan Ball for all their behind the scenes work on this event. You saw Jamie was handing out flowers here in the hallway. So thank you to both of them. Lastly, a special thanks to alumni Mark Plasek, who made our Falcon Wall and Athletic Wall of Fame Falcon artifact cabinets into true works of art. So thank you, Mark. I now need to take a minute to properly identify and recognize the person who really jump-started this entire process. You see, it was the spring of 2016, and I received a rather lengthy email from this staff member. His interest was simple: to honor those who have made this district the special place it has been for the past 65 years. Here are just a few excerpts from his 2016 email. History and tradition are important for our school and district. This proposal is truly a reflection of conversations and requests that graduates from all decades have brought forward. They are a proud alumni that will serve in any capacity to help ensure that NW continues to move forward as the great place that it is and always has been. On a special note, this could become a great and memorable celebration if it comes to fruition. Well, Al, with at least 160 people signed up for our luncheon during a pandemic, I think it's come to fruition. Most of you in this room probably know Al Pogel. He is as proud of this district as anyone I've ever come across. He has great respect for traditions, but is always willing to start new ones that are good for our district. It was my great pleasure to introduce the chairperson of our Wall of Fame committee, teacher, coach, exceptional human being, and much more, Mr. Al Pogel.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a great day. And to our inductees, it is a true honor to share your day with you. It holds extra significance that we are gathered here, even in the midst of this challenge we have fought through for over 20 months. Our celebration is testament to the qualities that make NW legendary. Our history overflows with memorable and wondrous things, but we have also been tested along the way. It is one of our hallmarks to stand firm, refuse to give in, face our difficult times head on, fight unrelentingly, and to grow from the experience. That is NW at its finest. That is part of our special tradition. It has been said that traditions touch us, they connect us, they expand us. As the family that is NW continues to grow, we recognize how much we have in common. We are forever connected to our past as we fight through and gratefully appreciate the present, and we look to our collective future with great anticipation and promise. Those being inducted today have led NW to this place. They have demonstrated a level of excellence which is unparalleled. They are part of the foundation of excellence that Niagara Wheatfield cherishes. They have given us vivid memories. They have taught us, counseled us, guided, motivated, and inspired us. They have brought honor to themselves and all that surround them. And now they will hold a place of honor for all that they have done and for all to see. To our inductees, you have seen and heard from some of this generation's finest young people. Our students pass by your plaques every day. They draw inspiration from all that you are and all that you have accomplished. Many of them will occupy this stage someday, and it will be in part because of the efforts and guidance from you and others who came before them. The great Sir Isaac Newton, when asked of his greatness, humbly replied, "If I have seen farther than others, it is because I was standing on the shoulders of giants." To those being inducted today, our young people will be standing on your shoulders as they fill our future with great and good things. And we get to celebrate that promise and your induction here together. What a great day. What a great day. So that we may give our inductees the recognition they so richly deserve, it gives me great pleasure to introduce two of NW's finest ambassadors. Their names invoke incredible respect and admiration. Their deeds are truly stuff of legends. Mr. Bruce Strasberg and Mr. William Ross.
What a wonderful day to be here with you at this exceptional experience. We'd like to thank everyone who has submitted applications for these recipients. We're grateful for the time you took and remind you that if you'd like to have someone apply, please just go to the Niagara Wheatfield Hall of Fame a website and go to the drop down that says application and make application. We appreciate it. I'd like to thank, before we start, the committee who is responsible for the Wall of Fame. That's Mr. Bill Ross, myself, Mr. Darren Sneed, Al Pogel, and Lee Wallace for their contributions. Now, I would ask that you would read the detailed biographies of these Wall of Fame recipients. We can only do so much in about a minute, but their achievements are amazing. These that we'll present are just short synopses of their life's accomplishments. So I'd now like to turn the mic over to Mr. Bill Ross. Mr. Ross.
Thanks, Bruce. It's great to be here with you today, the recipients, and of course, with you folks that are here honoring them, and I'm very, very proud of them. The first is Roger W. Andrews Sr. He was probably one of the greatest community contributors that I've ever met in my tenure in this school district and beyond the school district. He was not an NW graduate, graduated from Niagara Falls High School in 1955, relocated out here after military service, built his house in Wheatfield in the early 60s. In 1970s, we got involved with him. When a youth organization got a little financial trouble, he became the treasurer and actually established fiscal stability. Our beloved and the best role model this district ever had, Fred Barone, saw a lot of potential in this community contributor. Before long, he talked them into building a building where people could finally not use the porta potties, but have an inside restroom where we have a concession stand and a dressing room for players to come to instead of sitting out on the field or going back to the building. That was just the beginning. After the building was completed, free of charge, not 1 cent of budget money from the school district. The next project he got into was the NW Community Breakfast. And that was for senior citizens from 1984. He was given the chairmanship of it. He ran it for the next 33 years. A great community man, a great community person. At this time, I'd like to bring up his son, a class of the 1989, and also an outstanding football and lacrosse player, Roger W. Andrews Jr.
Bruce, you can take your mask off for the photo. You take your mask off for the photo, Bill.
Our next recipient, better put my mask back on. Our next recipient is George Brown. He came to the Niagara Wheatfield School District in 1965. He was a non-tenured teacher. Well, he didn't even have the certification at that particular time to be a science teacher, but he undertook to get the certification, and he brought stability to Edwardtown Junior High School in the science wing, where he was there for many, many years until he moved back over to the high school as a guidance counselor. There, he stayed for another 15 to 18 years. Also, he had a dual capacity. Not only was he an outstanding teacher, but he was a person of the ministry. And he did a great job of that, where people have honored and remembered him for many, many years. George Brown, one of our best junior high science teachers. George Brown.
Take your mask off.
Thank you. Once a falcon, always a falcon. We've heard that many, many times, but there's one person that falls into that category that started with us in 1969. He's still with us. He started with us as a math teacher at Edwardtown Junior High School. I was glad to have him because at that time, Edwardtown Junior High School was the home of the baby boomers. Believe me, we got up to over 1,400 students over there. These are the type of people I needed, like George Brown and Don Miller. Well, Don Miller stayed over there, but while he was a teacher, a math teacher there, he also became a soccer coach, a basketball coach, a baseball coach, intramural programs, any part of the extracurricular program dealing with athletics. He was there. He is still there. Let's give a nice round of applause for Don Miller. Once a falcon, always a falcon. This next gentleman was one of the Burkholz boys from the early years here at NW. Matter of fact, he was in the 4th graduating class of 1963. I've always counted the first 10 years as pioneers here from the time we opened the doors in September 1958 through the first 10 years because we were growing. Well, this gentleman was a good basketball and track man. He went on to Capital University for his bachelor's degree, then got a master's degree, and then went for doctor degree, Dr. Grant Du Bois. But beyond that, reading his resume, what he has accomplished is not only on the national level, but on the international level. Certainly in development and research, he's done a tremendous job. Products that you drink, products that you eat, he had an awful lot to do with it. You read through his resume in the book there. What he's accomplished over the years. We're proud of everybody, but he's not only national, he is international because he's involved with companies that touch many, many parts of the world. Let's give a nice round of applause to Dr. Grant Du Bois. The next recipient, class of 1971, a very diversified career. He's not only been a recreation director for the town of Niagara for a good many years, he was a teacher and a coach here at Niagara Wheatfield. He was also director of athletics and phys ed at Niagara County Community College. Now he's the supervisor of the town of Niagara, an extremely diversified career. But in sports, he took girls' sports, basketball and softball, took them through league championships, sectional championships, regional championships, right up to the state level. He gave us an awful lot of good press. Besides, He received many, many awards, justified awards, believe me, as MVP of many of these coaching categories. It's with great pleasure I introduce from the class of 1971, Lee Wallace. A teacher that made history live. Came to the school district in 1960. His name, Wallace Lamb. When we moved over to the junior high school, the great move over, you remember that, Wally? Operation Crossover, when we took all the sixth graders from the trailers in the 7th and 8th grade on the day after Columbus Day and moved them over to the junior high, the big movement. I was glad he came with me because he gave stability to the social studies department. Kids loved him because he made the class interesting. He was with us 40 years and he accomplished so much in the way of pushing kids on to further education and making them love the history of our country. It's with great pleasure I introduce Mr. Wallace Lamb, Wally Lamb. Next gentleman, a real education leader, came to us in 1967, had many different roles here. Reading teacher, head of federal programs that we had. But I think the biggest thing he accomplished, because he did everything extremely well, was that he took over the junior high. Now, when we opened the junior high in 1965, it had a configuration of 6th, 7th, and 8th. The 6th were self-contained, the 7th and 8th moved. There was no middle school concept at the time. Mr. Lee Pierce took us from there, those ancient days, into modern days and accomplished making Edwardtown Junior High a great middle school under his leadership. And he accomplished this by doing many other things at that particular time. Certainly a leader in all different categories. Also 18 years, he supervised teachers at Buffalo State. So with great pleasure, Mr. Lee Pierce. It's with great pleasure I talk about this next lady, Dr. Beverly Veitch. Matter of fact, as I read through her resume, I forgot that she attended a school that I taught in the school district back in 1957 before we opened the high school. And that was the River Road Elementary School. I love that school. I was 23 years old. I had 4 women teachers. They made my lunch every day. It was just a great year that I had. there. And Beverly, I know you were a graduate of River Road School, so I commend you. That was a great school. But beyond that, Beverly Beach actually changed a lot of things around in this school district. She was exceptional teacher's teacher. But the point is she did some great work in curriculum. And during her tenure, there was a dynamic duo here. Dr. Joel Radin and of course, Dr. Bev Veitch, and they upgraded the academic excellence of Niagara Wheatfield. And she's to be commended for that because she was the leader in that with her background in curriculum. A wonderful lady, River Road, her kids graduated from here. Her husband was a very esteemed professor at community college, Dr. Ed Veitch. And Ed, you're around here someplace. I haven't seen you. I'll talk to you later. But at this time, Dr. Beverly Veitch, thank you very much for all your contributions. The next gentleman, when we opened this school on September 3rd, 1958, the school wasn't finished. We didn't have an auditorium here. We didn't have a cafeteria. We ate in the library. We didn't have an industrial arts section. But this man that became our leader was very young. He was a principal at Letchworth High School, and also a principal at Gowanda High School, came here in 1958. Now, this district was unique. It's 100 square miles. We had almost all of the town of Niagara, almost all of the town of Wheatfield, Lewis and Lowell, Cambria. But people love their little schools like River Road, free lunch, and things like that. So it was a very, very different kind of situation. But what he was able to do, he brought it all together. He brought the town of Niagara into the town of Wheatfield. He melded it. He was young. We had a young faculty. Most of us were in our 20s at the time. And he provided the leadership through the 8 years he was here to start this on the way of the direction of becoming a great high school in Western New York. He accomplished so much, left here and became a director of secondary education down in Scottsdale, Arizona. He had 2 great kids here. We really appreciate the work of Dr. Richard Eden, an outstanding man. Besides, he was a good football player at the University of Rochester, had a tryout with the Buffalo Bills. He was a great man and a great leader of Niagara Wheatfield High School, Dr. Richard Eden. You're gonna leave that for me. Leave that. Okay, now I'll go back.
Hard to follow Bill Ross, isn't it? Mr. Ross, we love you and we appreciate all that you remember about us. I love you. Now, the next person is one of my old students. He's unfortunately not able to be here because he is deceased, but he's a young man that I'll never forget. His name's Steve Collins. Steven is an NW alumnus, 1980, outstanding student athlete, and he's NW's only appointed Olympian. I think that's amazing. He was the world record pistol shooter who held over 50 international pistol shooting records. He is a 15-time Empire State's gold medal winner, and he's a member of the Empire Games Hall of Fame. What an amazing life Steve lived. His brother Bill will be receiving on his behalf. So Steve Collins. All right.
Come on, we're gonna get right to the middle. Stephen.
Thank you. Now, the next young lady also, the very first class ever taught, she sat in it. And this is Sharon Knox Doobie. She's an NW alumna, class of 1975, classical clarinetist, collegiate instructor, and conductor. Her groups have been nominated for multiple Grammy Awards. She plays in a group that's very prestigious called the Dallas Winds. Their recordings have been nominated for 6 Grammys. Sharon is the assistant principal clarinetist, and amongst audiophiles, this group can really play. We're going to hear some of her music at lunchtime. So at this time, we'd like to honor Sharon Knox Doobie.
Yeah, stand up.
Another one of those great NW alumna, 1976, Joanne Rickard Weinholz, NW Teacher for the Tuscarora Nation, NW Teacher of the Year, Curriculum Leader for Indigenous Peoples in the Tuscarora Education. She is a recipient of many, many, many educational awards. But the one that I was touched by the most is the Niagara Caritas Award, which is charity. I love that award because of her good work. She was awarded that. Her devotion to her family, students, and culture will long be remembered. I also remember her smooching in the hallway with her husband. And don't tell your grandchildren that. Oh, they heard? Oh, sorry, kids. So this is Joanne Rickard Weinholz. One of the nicest kids that ever graduated from Wheatfield, Dr. Andrew Mack, NW alumnus, 1996. He was the valedictorian, outstanding high school athlete and school citizen. He has been an orthopedic surgeon in the U.S. Army. Dr. Mack was deployed to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom with the 31st Combat Support Hospital, where he was awarded the Bronze Star Medal for his combat service. During that time, he performed over 200 major trauma operations, many for life and limb saving for injured combat troops. Dr. Mack had 2 other overseas deployments to Iraq and again to Afghanistan. He was the White House medical advisor. I'm glad he wasn't the psychologist because we wouldn't be honoring them, but we honor him for caring for thousands of brave wounded warriors and combat veterans, helping to restore function and quality of life. Lieutenant Colonel Mack was recently awarded the prestigious Order of Military Medical Merit Medal. Let's hear it for Dr. Mack. a 33-year veteran music teacher of the Edwardtown Middle School and NW Senior High. Award-winning choral teacher. If you walk out in the hallway, you'll see many trophies that her groups have earned. She was an honored school musical director, directing over 25 of those musicals. I happen to be the drama director many times with this lovely lady. She inspired literally hundreds and hundreds of NW drama and choral students. Miss Muriel Ely. We've had so many wonderful students over the years, and we'd like to honor this young man who's, again, an NW alumnus, 1992, a salutatorian, a product of the great Lutheran school district that's spread throughout our district. He was an Eagle Scout. He was an excellent athlete and choral student. He's been an accountant and CPA and MBA, worked for Coopers and Lybrand, which later became PricewaterhouseCoopers until 2002. He served as the manager of internal and external reporting at Birdseye Frozen Foods, excuse me, and he's the chief financial officer for Kodak Corporation, Rochester, New York. And he's actively involved with his community, his family, and it's the many needs of that growing family. We'd like to honor Mr. David Bullwinkle. This man, when I was in school, is known as the Penguin. And it was because he had that tuxedo, and he looked like a what? A penguin, that's correct. He was the most dynamic conductor. Hold on, I hear some laughs over there. Muriel, Miss Ely, I knew I'd get a giggle from her. Mr. Wally Goodman, one of the greatest music teachers I've ever seen. Band teacher, NW summer school principal. He was the principal at that very tough Wilson Middle School. Oh, I tell you, they are tough there. And he's been the director of maybe my favorite band of all time, the Sanborn Marching Band. Mr. Goodman has received many awards, including Teacher of the Year at NW, and very recently, this is amazing, the very prestigious Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra Excellent in Music Education Award. He was also selected as a guest clinician at the Kanazawa Music Festival in Tokyo, Japan. Wally is much appreciated as a dynamic, inspiring teacher, and he's also a collector of fine Packard automobiles. You're special. Where's Wally Goodman? Let's pull up Wally Goodman and give him a round of applause. Now, our last person we first of all need to mention This past month, NW lost one of its great business teachers ever, Mrs. Jackie Jacobs. She was one of those terrific people who taught business. I inherited a room in A Wing later on in my career, and I always thought of her as I went into that room. But I mention that because our condolences go to the Jacobs family. Now, our last recipient is Mr. Mark Jacobs, an NW alumnus, 1969, track hurdler. In fact, he was the sectional champ in the 110 low meter hurdles. Now, having said that, he still holds the record because guess what? They don't run that event any longer. But he could tell his sons and grandchildren that he's still the sectional champ. He was a Peace Corps volunteer when JFK invited us all to serve. I love that part about him. He spent his career as a writer and a diplomat. Much of his fiction is set in countries around the world where he has lived, worked, and traveled, from Africa and Asia to Europe and the Americas. Mark has served in many, many positions, diplomatic positions, posted all over the world, including Turkey, Spain, Paraguay, Honduras, and Bolivia. As a senior inspector for the State Department's Office of Inspector Generals, he's worked in many additional U.S. embassies abroad. As a writer, he's published 5 books, and you ought to read them, and more than 160 short stories over his career. Mr. Mark Jacobs. Now, we need to take a moment, ladies and gentlemen, to have a picture. Where do you want? Do you want this way? Looks good. Hold up your mask off, please. Sharon, if you take your mask off. Have a round of applause.
And after our wall inductees have left the stage, we would ask our Athletic Hall of Fame inductees to enter the stage, please.
Hey, Bill. Yeah, I need a ride your 66 Corvette.
Yes,
There we go.
66 Corvette.
still have it.
Damn
I
thing
got a
is-
67.
Great. One thing I didn't like about those was the.
That's
emergency
what do you
restroom
think?
was you don't beat it across the base.
Yeah, so there's on the backside of the base, there's like a reserve, small building.
You are, glad you went back.
Yeah. I did a couple years ago.
You're gonna make that, you know,
Make it
that's
cross
fine.
it.
So good seeing you. Bill.
Oh, it's all right.
Hey, God bless you, my friend.
Hey, we have a lot of fun. Hey,
Didn't quite qualify.
How are you doing?
George, I'm gonna let you go ahead, and Ed is right in front of us. Okay.
How do you like Victor?
Congratulations.
What about it last night? I like this voting.
His mom and dad were two of the greatest.
Yeah, they're actually, they live, closer to. So you know what, it's amazing, it's like, congratulations. Thank you. So.
Hey, I'll see you later, Eddie.
Okay, put my mask on. They said, take that mask off. Where's the? Where's the front row? Seriously, all of them? My kids are small. Three people in the hall.
Oh, there's two. There's supposed to be a lot. They ran to the bathroom.
Hi, Ann.
No, we're fine. Two. Now we have a full house on stage. So, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to reintroduce Andrew John Domenico, Senior Class President, who will speak on behalf of the entire student body. Andrew?
Over the years, many students have passed through this astounding high school, each one accomplishing something to their own standard, whether it be in music, art, sports, academics, whatever it may be. Even teachers have had their defining moments throughout their careers while at NW. No matter who you are or what occupation you hold, those moments deserve to be recognized. Today's event is just for that. Each and every one of you has reached monuments of high stature, and we here at Niagara-Wheatfield are extremely proud to have been a part of that journey and to celebrate this occasion. I'm very honored to speak on behalf of the Niagara-Wheatfield student body and the class of 2022. It is extremely important for us as students, especially as seniors, to recognize the hard work and dedication that you all have put into your efforts, and for us to reciprocate that dedication into every aspect of our own lives. Every individual here today, as well as past inductees, shows us that we cannot waste our power and that instead, we must take that power into our own hands and use it to fulfill our futures. Our signature saying, "Once a Falcon, always a Falcon," truly is on display at this very moment, and we will all continue to let this legacy live on with pride. With that being said, inductees, enjoy your special day.
What an incredible fall for NW athletics. Returning after a year of challenges, our sports teams were simply outstanding. To speak on behalf of all of our athletic department and NW athletics, our athletic director, Mr. Matt McKenna.
Thank you, Mr. Pogel. Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Athletic Hall of Fame portion of today's ceremony. I'd just like to kind of take this opportunity to update our community and many of our alumni like yourselves on the success of our athletic program and how it's been going in the last year and really the last year and a half. So each of you can go back to your communities and just share that pride and how proud you are of this awesome alma mater, of your awesome alma mater. And this is why. Last year, for the third time in 4 years, Niagara-Wheatfield received the NFL Sportsmanship Award. This award is voted on by student athletes and the coaches in each individual NFL school. Also, mind you, again, during a pandemic, we won 4 NFL titles and 4 sectional titles in girls volleyball, boys basketball, girls soccer, and wrestling. Certainly success has not stopped. Success still continues this year, as only in the fall year as it's just completed, actually still going. We've already won 5 NFL championships in the fall season. And as of last night, about 10:30, our girls volleyball team won the sectional championship, and we go into regionals next week. Congratulations to all our athletes, and everyone in here should be very, very proud. Let's take a couple moments here, and I apologize, just like Mr. Lalanich did. There's a lot of thank yous for this afternoon and this morning to be possible. I'd like to first thank both committee groups here for both the Hall and Wall of Fame. Again, countless hours to make this event certainly possible. It's tremendous. For our maintenance staff, as you look around our facility, and I just has been praising them for the last year and a half to try to keep this place clean, sanitized during this pandemic. And it's just an awesome experience just because it's incredible. We have 63 sports teams that played in the pandemic last year. Just three teams had to go in quarantine. Schools in other areas, other districts had 3 in days, weeks, a lot more. So we really thank our maintenance staff and again, doing a nice job to keep this facility clean and make it look beautiful today. Dom Borelli and his staff for a wonderful food, seems to get better every year. Thanks, Dom. For Jam Ball, my secretary, Jamie Beiner, again, for countless hours to really make this event run smoothly, flawlessly every year. Thanks again, Jan and Jamie. And finally, last but certainly not least, Al Pogel for his relentless passion, desire, vision to make this the marquee event of the school year. This certainly would not be possible without Al's determination and passion for his alma mater, Niagara-Wheatfield. So for a brief minute, let me go back to a couple of else, I think, characteristics. Passion, that heart, the sense of vision in that mind, make this event always a better event each year. I find this very ironic because each of our 20 inductees, some we have just presented, some we will in a moment, personally personify, but we personally personify these characteristics as well. In order to be successful, we must have that heart, the desire, and that mind to achieve. Do me a favor, just indulge me for a minute, just close your eyes for one brief moment. No, don't think of Bill Ross being up here doing a speech. Close your eyes for a moment. Just point to yourselves for a minute as you close your eyes. Just point to yourselves. And open your eyes. It's not a coincidence that most of you either pointed to your heart or to your mind. Martin Luther King once said, intelligence plus heart and goal is true education. With that, thank you. And thank you again to all our individuals here tonight. Congratulations to all our inductees. At this point, I'd like to introduce Mr. Pete Cerny and Mr. Bob Kaczynski, who will introduce our Hall of Fame inductees and presenters. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Matt. It's really an honor to be a part of the Hall of Fame selection. And I wanted to acknowledge those members who are on our selection committee, which are Pete Cerny, Beth Giuliani, Fran Haggerty, Mike Morawski, Bill Ross, Vince Schiffert, Paul Smith, Darren Sneed, Lee Wallace, and Ashley Whitehead, and myself. Just to explain briefly what the process is, each applicant must have over 50% positive votes to get into the Hall of Fame. So that means out of the 11 members, 6 have to vote for the inductee. It's a tough process. We scrutinize the resumes and the applications. Sometimes we have to hunt down the facts to see if what we're reading is factual. You know, athletes, they always get better the older they get. We have to make sure that's on the mark. And I do want to mention for the athletes here today, I noticed that 6 of them had to go to the bathroom before they came up on stage. So just like the big match or the big meet or the big game, they had to make sure they were ready to go. It's really been an honor. We've got an impressive group of both 2020 and our one inductee for 2021. So with that, I'll bring up Pete Cerny to give you their inductions.
I'm glad you cleared that up. I didn't want people thinking that you were Pete and I was Bob. First, David Brewer, class of 1993. David was a 3-sport athlete here at Niagara Wheatfield, contributing to the wrestling, cross country, and track teams. Throughout his wrestling career, David had over 100 wins and was a Section 6 champion and placed 4th in the state in 1992. A few other accomplishments during his high school include earning the Red Letter Award, Terry Harvey Award, as well as the Ken Rolls Scholarship Award. Following his high school athletic achievements, David volunteered as a wrestling coach and a referee for NWAA Wrestling, as well as an assistant wrestling coach at Star Point and Lew-Port. And I'm told that he actually coached with John Hoover, another recipient we will recognize later while at Lew-Port. David graduated from Brockport with a degree in communication, broadcasting in 2007, moved to Los Angeles to continue working in the film industry, including on the very popular film Insidious. David credits his family, his friends, and faith as his major driving force, and in particular his mother, Carol Brewer, who instilled in him a never give up attitude and a reach for your dreams approach to life. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct David Brewer into the Niagara Wheatfield Athletic Hall of Fame. Bill Ross is back here. Next up is William Cammon, class of 1962. Bill grew up in Burkholtz and was the oldest of 7 children. During his time at Niagara Wheatfield, Bill played baseball for 4 years and basketball for 3. Niagara Wheatfield's first league championship was earned while William was a senior, and he was selected to the Niagara Orleans All-Star team. Outside of athletics, Bill was an honor student and served as vice president of his senior class. And after high school, he attended Geneseo, where he was the starting shortstop on the varsity baseball team for all 4 years. Bill was a high school math teacher in Rochester for 34 years and also taught at RIT until 2010. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct William Cammon into the Niagara Wheatfield Athletic Hall of Fame. Jillian Fadul, class of 1996. Jill's 2 sports while in high school were swimming and softball. She spent 6 years on varsity and broke records in the 100, 200, and 500 free, as well as the 200 and 500 medley relays. While swimming varsity for these 6 years, Jill earned MVP for 5 of those years and was honored by the Niagara Frontier League Girls Swimming All-Star Team in the 500 free. After graduation, Jill received her degree in phys ed and a master's degree from Niagara University, and then spent time as a phys ed and health teacher in North Carolina and Maryland before moving home and teaching part-time at Niagara County Community College. While here, Jill stayed very busy coaching softball, baseball, and of course swimming, and even found some time to coach women's volleyball. Jill continued to give back to the community, becoming the scheduling and traveling coordinator at the college and eventually the director of student housing. Jill now resides right here in Wheatfield, where we're all sure that she will continue to give back to the community's athletic programs. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct Jillian Fadul into the Niagara Wheatfield Hall of Fame. Angela Hastings, class of 2009. Angela was a 3-sport athlete during her time here, playing tennis, basketball, and track. She was a 4-year member of the varsity track team and was captain of the basketball and tennis teams her senior year. Angela's greatest accomplishment was her 14-0 record in 2008, and was the first in Niagara Wheatfield history in girls tennis to be undefeated at first singles. Other accomplishments Angela earned include Channel 4 Distinguished Student Athlete, Hewitt Award, and Niagara Wheatfield Scholar Athlete Scholarship. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct Angela Hastings into the Niagara Wheatfield Athletic Hall of Fame. Kyle Henry, class of 2010. Kyle earned his varsity letters in volleyball, basketball, as well as lacrosse. As a volleyball player, Kyle earned second team All-Western New York his junior year. As a lacrosse player, he earned All-Western New York for 2 years and was an All-American his senior year and led the Falcons in goals in both his junior and senior seasons. Kyle earned many other awards for lacrosse, including Niagara Gazette's Player of the Year, MVP, and team captains. After graduating from Niagara Wheatfield, Kyle attended Syracuse University and was a walk-on to the Syracuse men's lacrosse team and would play there for all 4 years, while at the same time pursuing a degree in computer science. Kyle is settled down locally in Western New York, working as a software engineer, and when he is available, he helps out the varsity lacrosse team here at Niagara Wheatfield. Kyle still actively plays all of these sports and with his friends and his family. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct Kyle Henry into the Niagara Wheatfield Athletic Hall of Fame. Melissa Smith, class of 2013. Melissa was a major contributor to basketball, soccer, and track for all 4 years here at high school. In basketball, Melissa scored over 1,000 career points and was a first-team NFL player 3 times and a first-team All-Western New York player her senior year, and was team MVP 2 times. In track and field, Melissa earned multiple team points in several events and was a member of the school record-breaking 4x800 relay team. Similarly to basketball, Melissa had many accomplishments in soccer, including 75 career goals and 23 assists. She was a first-team All-NFL 3 times and a first-team All-Western New York her senior year. She was chosen as the NFL Player of the Year her senior year, as well as the Niagara Gazette's Player of the Year. Melissa's soccer career didn't end after graduating from Niagara Wheatfield. She played most of her college soccer at Buff State, some of it at Buff State. She was SUNYAC Offensive Player of the Year 2 times and was on the NCAA All-East Region First Team. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct Melissa Smith into the Niagara Wheatfield Athletic Hall of Fame. Terry Smith, class of 1990. Terry played 3 sports while attending Niagara Wheatfield, including football, baseball, and bowling. While playing football, Terry was a running back as well as a cornerback and broke 3 school rushing records. Still holding the school record for the longest punt return, 95 yards. Terry was also a pitcher on the baseball team as well and played center field. Terry was an all-league selection in both football and baseball while here at Niagara Wheatfield. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct Terry Smith into the Niagara Wheatfield Athletic Hall of Fame. I can imagine some of those football games. Richard Vicky, class of 1967. Rich spent most of his time as a student athlete playing basketball. Over a 3-year span playing on varsity, Rich started 52 straight games and led the team in scoring and assists as a junior and senior. In addition to playing basketball, Rich also played baseball and would go on to win 2 sectional championships. In college, Rich attended Niagara County Community College and played basketball, with the team winning the regional tournament and participating in the Junior College National Basketball Championship Tournament. Rich also served as the captain of NCCC's baseball team that finished regional runner-ups. Rich then attended Buffalo State, where he was on the baseball team as a pitcher and a first baseman. A few years later, Rich returned to Niagara Wheatfield and coached football and basketball, having a lot to do with building winning cultures across many different teams here. Perhaps Rich's most important award came after his duty in Vietnam, where he was awarded Purple Heart Medal. Among many other military awards. It is with great pleasure and great honor that we induct Richard Vicky into the Niagara Wheatfield Athletic Hall of Fame. Stephen Vallant, class of 1989. Stephen, or Bo Vallant, was a 3-star athlete in football, basketball, and baseball. As a runner and a kicker playing football, Rich helped lead Niagara Wheatfield to its first appearance. Bo helped lead Niagara Wheatfield to its first appearance at then Rich Stadium, where the team claimed the division championship. Bo earned the Division III Player of the Year, Niagara Gazette's all-area football team, and Buffalo News all-Western New York punter. Bo's accomplishment didn't end with football. While playing baseball and basketball, he also helped those teams have a great amount of success. After high school, Bo attended and played at Alfred, and upon coming home, went on to earn a degree as a carpenter and now runs his own successful business. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct Stephen Bo Vallant into the Niagara Wheatfield Athletic Hall of Fame. Alexandra Weinholtz, class of 2008. Alexandra played lacrosse, basketball, and cross country, and earned a total of 8 varsity letters over 5 years of playing varsity sports. As a lacrosse player, Zan was chosen the first team All-Western New York 3 times, Niagara Gazette Player of the Year, and was even nominated for the All-American team. In 5 seasons on varsity, Zan missed exactly 0 games, surely proving her toughness, determination, and dedication. Zan holds the records for goals in Western New York in a single season with 98, and has a career number goals of 253. Outside of her many other school records and awards, Zan was part of other national lacrosse teams, participating in medal award winning tournaments and earning additional accolades. Following high school, Zan earned her degree in early childhood education from Niagara University and is currently a teacher here in the Niagara Wheatfield School District. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct Alexandra Zan Weinholtz into the Niagara Wheatfield Athletic Hall of Fame. We have one inductee from 2021. And that individual is Jonathan Hoover, class of 1992, also referred to as Hoover, I'm told. John was a very impactful three-sport athlete while a student here. John played varsity football and baseball and made his biggest impact while wrestling varsity for 5 years. On the football field, John was the Division Defensive Player of the Year and held school records for game, season, and career solo tackles. During his 5 years wrestling, John was a 4-time Niagara Frontier League place finisher and NFL champion and a 2-time Section 6 place finisher. He was appointed team captain for 2 years and earned MVP. John currently is a middle school teacher and the varsity wrestling coach at Lewiston Porter. It is with great pleasure and honor that we induct John Hoover into the Athletic Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, these are our inductee Niagara Wheatfield Hall of Fame recipients.
Take a picture.
Well done, guys.
They should stay up.
But please have a seat. Yep. As we begin to wrap up this portion of our celebration, a few announcements. Please remember that only those with reservations may attend the luncheon. We would ask our inductees to remain on stage, and in a few moments, we're going to ask the Wall of Fame members to come back to the stage so that we can have some time for photo opportunities. When those photos are complete, we encourage our inductees, their friends, and family to walk to the area where their plaques are permanently displayed. It is a fitting location, to be sure, as both the hall and wall overlook the courtyard and the site of Niagara Wheatfield's first graduation. This is a place of firsts. Inductees, you will find your plaques now revealed for all to see. A constant reminder of what you and your loved ones have done to bring honor to Niagara Wheatfield. And once more to our inductees. A quote from the great composer and conductor Gustav Mahler. Tradition is not to preserve the ashes, but to pass on the flame. Please remain in contact with us. Get active in this process Today, take time to talk with students who are here. Regale them with your stories, your memories, your inspirations. Pass on the flame. Remember, always remember, it is your shoulders that they will climb upon. And now it's time to preserve our memories with a great photo shoot. So let's have it. And you may applaud all our inductees. Could our Wall of Fame inductees, class of 2020 and 2021, please make their way back to the stage?
A reminder to everyone in attendance, masks are required throughout the ceremony. Thank you. everyone in attendance. Masks are required throughout the ceremony. Thank you. Just a reminder to everyone in attendance, masks are required throughout the ceremony. Thank you. Just a reminder to everyone in attendance, masks are required throughout the ceremony. Thank you. Just a reminder to everyone in attendance, masks program will begin in 5 minutes.